it's your boy L Boogie. You know I'm blessing the Lord, highly favored, excited about Jesus, excited about the word of God. My cup is running over, and I still want some more. This your boy L Boogie with the hoodie. Man, I feel supercalifragilisticexpialidocious today because the thing that you've been wanting me to interview people about, that's the thing that I'm interviewing people about today. And so today I have my Cherie online with me right now. She's going to be talking about the number one thing that you've been asking me about for 2 years, and that is taxes. So what's going on, my Cherie?
Everything is well. I always feel so bad when you guys say your introduction, because I don't have a introduction like that. You have to help me come up with an introduction like that.
You know what? I really do. I really do. Everybody should have an introduction, a tagline or something. And that's my thing. I always like to, let people know where I am. Put Jesus out there in the forefront for
yes.
So, yeah. So taxes.
I have a tagline, but it's not as catchy as yours.
Yeah. And we can revamp that.
Okay.
Yeah. So taxes. That's the thing that everybody. Ever since I've had my channel, I've had my channel longer than that, but since I've been interviewing people about trucking and different things like that, people always say, "Hey man, how much taxes you pay? When you pay your taxes, and who you got doing your taxes?" That's the number one question that I get. I get that question a lot, like who you pay your taxes to, how much taxes do you pay? And I was actually talking to a brother one time, and I asked him, "Hey man, who do you get to do your taxes?" It was an older gentleman, and he said, "Taxes? What's that?"
Oh no! Yeah.
So
I hope he was joking.
Hey, it's so many people that don't do their taxes. It's crazy, man. It's so many people that don't do their taxes, and you can get in trouble for that.
You can really get in trouble, like your livelihood. You lose your license. They put levy on your home. They do not play.
Yeah. So let me ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
When did you first start into the tax business, being an accountant? Introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you do.
Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Cherie Rhodes. I am the trucker's accountant. I help truckers to pay the least amount of money, increase their cash flow and their fleets, all while, this is the number one thing right here, staying in compliance with the federal and state tax regulation. That is the key. I originally started off, never saw taxes in my future. I started off because my 2-year-old was driving me crazy and I wanted to do something, get out of the house. So I went and I started working for a small tax company. And then once I got there, I realized that I absolutely love doing taxes. Yeah. So fast forward, I was in school to get a master's degree in project management, totally changed that and went ahead and went into an MBA in finance. So once I got done with going to school for my MBA and I graduated, I realized, no, I'm right where I wanted to be. So I ended up staying in the tax industry. And so what really got me shifted to just doing truckers taxes is that my husband owns a transportation company. And he came to me one day and he was just like, one of my trucking buddies need help with their taxes. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I can help you out. And before I knew it, like there just more and more people started to come, and then people just started calling me the trucker's accountant. So it kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much how I am here. This is how I became who I am. People just kind of putting the name on me.
Yeah. And I always tell people, hey, go to someone who has a specific niche in your industry. And so like some people are like, man, I'm gonna just go to H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt, and a lot of those places, not to put them down, but a lot of them, they don't know truckers taxes. They don't know business. They know taxes for the general public,
Yeah. And trucking is really it's an industry where you have to be up on your laws to be able to take advantage and maximize the tax deductions that you guys are able to take advantage of. And you want to be able to identify what part of the trucking industry it's in or the terminology. And you guys have a lot of terminology where you may not even know if someone comes and they say, when you guys say, well, I pay for parking, and someone will say, okay, well, what about, why are all these things? What's if the tax? All of those things. They don't know what
Yeah.
it is. So even if it's missing, they don't know to ask you for it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things.
My name is Larry Cothran. I'm with Landstar, and I'm a BCO truck driver. Being leased on a Landstar is amazing because there's no one there to force dispatch you. You can make your own schedule. You can go and come as much as you need to, and the freedom is amazing. The Landstar network support me because they have a great customer service base. So when it comes to agents, when it comes to support staff, you can call them anytime. You have a whole entire staff that's right there behind you to help you be successful with Landstar.
And that's one of the things right there I was going to ask you about too. What are some of the things that people overlook in their taxes? I mean, a lot of people, man, they just go in there and say, okay, I made this amount of money for the year. Let's say $100,000. Let's say, okay, I made $100,000 for the year, and that's it. And they don't deduct nothing. I mean, you have per diem,
Right.
and you have, like you said, parking and stuff. Like, what are a few other things that people can deduct from taxes?
Okay, so I have a two-part answer to that question. So what I tell people is the main ones that you want to do is you want to make sure you're doing your per diem, you want to make sure you're doing your maintenance, and you want to make sure you're doing your fuel. Those are the things that come to mind automatically, right?
Yeah.
What everybody thinks about. However, there's some small ones that people tend to look over, like how much did you pay your tax professional to prepare your business taxes? Were you getting your truck washed, or things like that? And then definitely, I would say those miscellaneous charges. Say you're trying to park the truck and you had to do a scale, and you didn't do it on your Comdata card. So now you have this receipt. All of those little things that you don't think about and you say you're going to remember it in the future, it rarely happens where you're going to remember it. And, the trucking industry, even though you guys are making a lot of money, over 70% of it goes back into expenses.
Yeah. And so you make a lot, but you also spend a lot.
You spend a lot. I mean, of all of the taxes that I've done, I would have to say that trucking has the most deductions, where, most people are taking home more profits because they don't have to take care of this big rig and it's breaking down, or you're paying a lease and things like that.
Yeah. Now, so we talked about some of the things that you can write off. We talked about how you started. Why do we even need to pay our taxes quarterly, or do we need to pay them yearly? I get that question a lot.
You know what? I get that question a lot, and it's going to be up to you. But what the IRS states is that if you are going to owe over $1,000, then you need to make estimated quarterly taxes. And let's be honest, the bulk of truckers will owe over that amount. So what you do is you break it up and you pay quarterly. Now, if you do not pay quarterly, you can also set that money to the side and pay it at the end of the year. That is
My name is Larry Cothran. I'm with Landstar, and I'm a BCO truck driver. Being leased on a Landstar is amazing because there's no one there to force dispatch you. You can make your own schedule. You can go and come as much as you need to, and the freedom is amazing. The Landstar network support me because they have a great customer service base. So when it comes to agents, when it comes to support staff, you can call them anytime. You have a whole entire staff that's right there behind you to help you be successful with Landstar.
Year. That is an option. But who of us are really saving our money to pay it at the end of the year? But that's the way it could be done. Those one or two ways.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what services do you provide?
I provide bookkeeping for truckers, and also just the transportation industry, tax preparation, and then business formation. I see a lot of individuals getting business formations. So yeah, I help out with that too.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, they also ask this question: should I start an LLC or S corp?
That is the age-old question, and I'm going to have to plead the fifth and tell you that I am not an attorney. You should seek your attorney's advice when making decisions like this. However, I can tell you the stipulations, the requirements that are required for both parts. So if you're doing an S corp, the main issue with doing an S corp is that you have to have a board of directors and you have to have an employee. And an employee is not a 1099, that's a W-2 worker. So you have to be able to pay those employment taxes for that individual. And a lot of people don't realize that. That's the problem where we're running into that issue, because you go into an S corp because people tell you that you should get taxed, you're going to get taxed at a lower rate, but you're not following the other stipulations and you're having penalties on the back end. So that's, if you're doing an S corp, you want to make sure that you're making enough money to do an S corp, and then also that you know that you need to have a board of directors and an employee on the payroll. Now for an LLC, you're also going to still have the stipulations, just that the taxes could go up or down. What I like to say typically is that you can always start as an LLC and then get taxed as an S corp. That way, trucking is a very tricky industry. So most people, you want to get in, you want to jump right to the big gun, but sometimes it takes you steps to get there. So instead of jumping right into that S corp and saying, I'm making this amount of money, sometimes you're not making that amount of money. And now you have to worry about having an employee, having a board of directors, when if you did the LLC, you can work your way up to that. And then when you're ready to do that, you talk to your tax professional, you file where you are taxed. You become taxed as an S corp then.
Okay. Now, what are some of the common misconceptions that people usually have, especially truckers, that they usually have in the industry?
That they cannot pay the IRS. You think you can dodge the IRS? Quit playing. That right there, I would say, is the biggest one. Like, truckers are losing their license. So you're losing your bread and butter just because you don't want to deal with right now and paying that money right now, when if you wait, it could be so much worse. And this isn't like a debt collector that's going to go away in 7 years. Like, no, they want your stuff. They making sure they getting their money.
Yeah.
So that you have to pay the IRS. It's no way around it. And then what is another misconception? That every trucker should be an S corporation.
Yeah.
Everyone I talk to, I'm like, well, how is your business formed? And they're like, oh, well, I'm a S corp. So I said, well, what made you go that way? Because there is no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
I said, well, what made you go that way? Oh, a trucking buddy told me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that misconception, and then the fact that once you file an S corp, you have to have an employee.
Yeah.
And an employee is not a 1099 worker. That's a W-2 worker.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to keeping up with receipts and different things like that, how can I keep up with different receipts and, the things that I'm spending out and stuff? Because, you buy stuff online, you get, how can I keep up with those receipts? I know me, for myself, I use like a shoebox, and every week I'm taking all them receipts from the taking all the receipts that I have, throw them in the shoebox, and then you can enter that information into a P&L later on in the week or later that day.
Yeah, that is an option. I would say, one, you can use an app where you can take a picture of it, and the app, some apps, they'll like automatically categorize it for you. Yeah. I think it's called Smart Receipts. That's an app. If you
I use Shoebox too. It's an app called Shoebox. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically you take a picture of it, and then what it does is it'll categorize it for you. You can separate it however you want to. And then that also keeps you in compliance with the IRS as far as record keeping, because you do have a picture of that actual receipt. You don't have to worry about losing it in the future. So
Yeah.
that would be that's my first number one go-to, get an app, figure out what app works for you. My second thing would be, well, if we're like you and want to do shoe boxes, what you can do is you go ahead and I always say you can get those envelopes,
Yeah.
the big brown envelopes, and you can separate those by the months.
Yeah.
And then on the outside of it, so say you do the tallying of it up, you have your sheet of paper. On the outside of it, I like to do this even in my practices. On the outside of it, you keep notes on it. So what were the expenses? Kind of have your categorized list, how much you paid in maintenance, how much you paid in fuel, how much you did this, and you'll have it there. So at the end of the tax year, you're not having to count it all again. You're just looking at the envelope and adding it up or giving it to your tax professional.
Yeah.
And I will say, be consistent with doing it. That's the number one thing. You have to be consistent, or it will get overwhelming, and you'll get frustrated, and you'll end up not doing what you're supposed to do. So I say do it once a day or weekly, but if bare minimum, you need to do it monthly at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when is the best time or the best season to start in trucking?
There is no right or wrong answer for starting in trucking, just because the physical year will be the physical year for taxes regardless.
Yeah.
So if you've just opened your business in 2018 or in 2017, you open your business at the end of the year, and then you go over into 2018 and you have expenses. Only thing is, your expenses, the beginning expenses will go to 2017, and then the remainder expenses will go to 2018.
Yeah.
So if you're like you want to be able to write off all the expenses, then I would say you need to get it in the middle of the year. But there is no right or wrong answer for when to do a business in trucking. If anything, I would say you guys will be based on the mileage and how the lanes are going for the year.
Yeah. And last question, what is it that people, what is it that you always hear all the time from truckers, like things they wish they would have done, or, you know, some of the regrets or some of the learning lessons that they always run into, some of the things they learn from? What are some of those you can actually hear the same thing? Like you hear that, well, I done heard that before. Everybody is saying pretty much the same thing. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that.
I wish I wouldn't have done a lease purchase for that much money every week.
Yeah.
Another one is, I wish I had just paid the IRS when I had the chance.
Yeah. And so now they can avoid that. A lot of people, they don't have an accountant. They don't have a tax preparer, and they may use like a family friend that may know a couple of things and they're not really specialized in it, or they may take it to H&R Block, or they may be using, ATBS or something like that. But now they can have their personal own accountant, their own personal tax preparer, and you're all that in one. And so tell people how they can get in contact with you. What's your website and everything like that?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at The Truckers Accountant. And then my website is actually under construction, but in the bio at Instagram, and you'll be able to find it in the bio. It'll click you and take you to the website.
Okay. And it has your phone number down there and everything?
Yes, it has a phone number and everything, how to contact me. And then if you guys tell me that you are listening in from this broadcast, what I can do is I'll set aside some time to do some free consultations just to help you out, because it's really not about knowing the secrets. It's about knowing the basics and starting off well, and just having that confidence that your accountant has you. You're okay with taxes, so now I can go and I can run my trucking business. I can worry about what I want to worry about, because not everyone wants to worry about numbers.
Yeah.
I worry about numbers. Let me worry about the numbers. You
Yeah,
worry about
that's
driving
me.
that truck.
That's me. I don't want to worry about the numbers. All I want to, I can outsource everything. If I had
Yeah.
to outsource everything, I can outsource everything. I just want to be able to just figure out what do I want to eat today.
Yeah, I tell her, you don't have to worry about me trying to pull up and park a semi, because I'm not.
Yeah.
That ain't my thing. That ain't what I do. I'm gonna sit back here and I'm gonna save you some money. I'm gonna get these tax deductions. I'm gonna get everything you looking for, taking
Yeah.
your business to another level, increasing your fleet. But I will not drive that truck.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I tell people like this right here, you have to let people do what they know they can do. If I know you can do taxes and accounting, I like you find people that do taxes, they do accounting, they paint houses, they cook food on the side, they tap dance.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want nobody
Yeah.
doing all that for me. Like, I don't want to get you to do all that. What's your strongest gift? And whatever
Right.
your
Talking about, I do that.
is,
I do that too.
yeah. I don't want you fixing ham sandwiches and doing taxes,
Yeah.
and selling ice cream
No,
on the
I
side
know.
too,
Like,
so
when it's like Baby D on Friday, you don't know when to knock down the door.
Baby D, I forgot about Baby D on Friday. Yeah. All right, so it was good talking with you, Ma Cherie. And so we will. I'm sure you're gonna get plenty of calls, plenty of traffic. Make sure you give Ma Cherie a call. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before we get off?
I'll say my saying, okay, guys. It was so nice talking to you. I love giving you information. Give me a call. I'm really down to earth. And my name is Ma Cherie Rose. I'm the Truckers Accounting, helping you to navigate your way through taxes.
Groovy. And I'll say mine.
No big shabam.
Yeah. This is L Boogie with the hoodie. You know I'm blessing the Lord, highly favored, excited about Jesus, excited about the word of God. My cup is running over and I still want some more. How about you? And until next time, holla at your boy when you see me in the streets.